want to talk about your NFT project, Bucket Club, man. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It's not like a collectible piece of art. It's just your token that allows you access into a digital club.
You're listening to Studio 22.
Welcome to Studio 22. I'm Will Meldman. I'm sitting here with my co-host, Brock O'Hearn. And our guest today is Stephen Malbon, a founder of Malbon Golf, who, according to Vogue magazine, is help making golf gear cool again.
Wow. What a thing to hear. Thanks for having me.
It's official, dude. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, we're thrilled to have you. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, dude. So tell us about your life, man, and golf, what it is to you, man.
My life in golf. So I grew up in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and I played golf after tennis. So I played tennis first. And I grew up, so around like 10 to 12, I played tennis. And then I got a job at a golf course when I was 12. And I was started to I think the way I started golfing was I was in charge of the driving range. So you had to pick up the balls in the driving range, but there was like kind of wetland. If people hit it, hooked it left or sliced it right, it was in like woods. So you couldn't get the little pickup cart or the cart in there.
Yeah,
so
you gotta walk in.
Yeah, you had two options. You could use a tube and like pick the balls up like this, or you could just take like a 9-iron and hack all the balls out in the middle. So that's pretty much how I figured it out, how to hit the ball, because I would have to do that like pretty much every day at work. And so it was a lot more fun to try to like hit little stingers out of the woods than it was to use those stupid tubes and then walk over and dump it in a bucket and then carry the bucket. It's like, no, I'm just going to fucking hack them all out into the middle and then go in the cart and pick all the balls up.
Make a game out of it.
Yep. So that was, and then I just got obsessed with golf and I started playing with all the other dudes that worked at the golf shop, the cart barn and the range. And then probably like an assistant pro took some interest in me and started helping me with, my swing. But I played tennis first, so I already knew how to hit like approach shots and top spin lobs. And so I knew the difference between like hitting a draw or a slide or a fade based off of just the way you spin the ball and the way the club face hits it.
Right.
And my golf swing is still, it's kind of like Yvonne Lindell's two-handed cross-court winner. That makes sense.
I'm not familiar with the player.
Do you play tennis?
No.
So it's this dude back in the day. But anyway, if you're a left-handed tennis player and you hit a cross-court winner, it's very similar to like a golf swing.
Okay.
Wow.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you hear a lot about, other athletes like, even Stephen Curry right now, who's, in the Tiger Woods 2K23 golf game now. Baseball players, hockey players talk about like being able to control the head of the stick or the head of the puck or whatever it is to feel that motion. So that makes tons of sense to me.
Yeah, I feel like golf is the ultimate equalizer when it comes to a sport. And I've seen guys from all walks of life. That was when I first started playing with Will, I was just trying to like hack it, dude. Hit it as hard as I could, as far as I could. I had no form, no idea. And he's like, put it in my head that, there's a reason there's 90-year-old guys playing golf. It's a technique sport. It's a mental game more than it is anything else. And really kind of helped me dial it back in. And I still, kind of try to muscle it every now and again. But it's better.
We all do.
Yeah.
That's like it's the hardest part of golf, I think, is like I practice swing at 60% and I try to hit it at 80%. But yeah, sometimes I swing like 140%, violent like a savage for no reason. And it's just, you're going to fight that one forever. And also, I think I started when I was little, so I had to really like make an aggressive move after to try to hit it further. But as you get older, it's like, how can I swing calm and slow and let the club do what it's supposed to do and hit it in the middle of the face, and then you get a better result than hitting it hard.
Especially like when you're working on the TrackMan, it helps me to like see my club head speed and know that it's high no matter what, because then I can like, I'm not worried in my head about like, am I going to hit it far enough? I can just trust the process and like get in there and really focus on how I'm going to hit it and technique. But yeah, man, trying not to hit it as hard as you can every time is like the great mystery of golf.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds like I'm going to be struggling with it my whole life.
No, dude.
The tour guys, I played with like Harry Higgs, and he said he basically takes 2 extra clubs. So if he could hit a 6 iron, he'll hit a 4 iron. So you're like horrified that you're going to hit it over the green, and it forces you to like hit it really smooth and calm and not violent. And you don't see the tour guys hit it very like hard. I mean, the driver maybe, but like, why would you hit a hard 8 iron if you could just hit a smooth 7?
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And then I think too, when you hit it hard, you miss like this wide. But if you're just chipping, you comes into here. So you don't see people like chip the ball into the bunker, but you see people hit 3 woods into the bunker, right? Or 5 irons or what have you, because it goes so much further. So if you take a club or 2 extra and you just think about like chipping it, then you'll stop missing here and you'll start missing there, and then you'll have birdie putts.
That's a big part of my warm up is you just get the 60 out and like start with the chipping motion, you know, stay with the wedges, build up to the pitching, and then slowly get the irons in. And by the time I get to like a 7 iron, I got like a full swing.
Mm-hmm.
But
cool, man.
It kind of helps visualize it. So I could get stuck talking about it.
Man. I talk to you. It's fascinating. Yeah.
This could go for hours talking about golf.
Oh, 100%.
It's a good thing, though. Speaking of golf, man, you have one of the coolest companies, Malbon, in golf that I've seen.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. It's I kind of want to know what led you to starting it.
So I guess I stopped golfing when I was 15 because it wasn't like the most cool thing to do, or it was cool for me, but it wasn't cool for like everyone else I knew, except the people who I worked with at the golf course, which were my buddies, and they were addicted to golf too. But like everyone else in high school and school, like that wasn't like the cool thing to do, golf. So I abandoned it. When I was 15, and then I ended up going to art school in Atlanta, and I caddied through art school in Atlanta. And so then the caddies could play on Mondays for free, and we would play like 36 holes, and we would all gamble. So then all of a sudden I was going to the range like a couple days a week without them knowing, to like practice and get back into it. So I basically saw that there was a ton of people who play when they're young, and there's a lot of initiatives in golf to get young kids to play, but there isn't a ton of initiatives to get them to play from like 15 to 25 or 15 to 30. So it's like a 15-year gap where I played when I was from 12 to 15, and then I stopped until I was like, like 20, 21-ish, where I started caddying and just being addicted to golf. Then next thing you know, I was like obsessed with it again, because I kept having these little money games and we talked shit all week. So I had to fucking practice and like get back into it. And then I did that for 2 or 3 years. And then I ended up going to New York City and working and doing like ad agency type of hustle in New York. And so I abandoned it again until I was 33. So from the time I was 15 to 33, I only really played 2 years. And that's why I was caddying. And every other year I just didn't golf. It was like not a part of my life. So I started to realize that my kids who golf, when they're 15, if something doesn't change, they're going to do the exact same thing I did, which is, like get over it, because no one else is doing it in their peer group. And, girls aren't dating the golfers. And I don't know that have ever been like top of the list, So it's like any young person would do what I did. And, I just started to realize that. So 33, go fast forward to 33, I started golfing again. We were pregnant with Remington, our second child. So Erica was pregnant and I was partying too much. And I came home and it was like fucking 10 in the morning or something. And I came home and she was upset for good reason. And I said, I won't drink again until you have the baby. Like we're doing this together. It's the right thing to do. And so I got out of the doghouse in like 10 seconds. And then I was like, fuck, how am I going to stop going to nightclubs and obsessing with going to nightclubs? And I had to figure out how you can kind of switch one addiction to another. So I started booking tee times as much as I could early, like 7 a.m., different golf courses. And within like a week or two, I was obsessed with golf again. So then I was obsessed with golf. So I started to like put golf on my Instagram. And this is like 7-8 years ago, where I was normally only putting pictures of like art and music and fashion and skateboarding and weirdo graffiti shit on there, or my kids. And then all of a sudden I'm putting up photos of like Freddie Couples and, you know, the Walrus golfing. And all of my friends were like, you know, no one golfs but you. So like, stop putting those photos up there. We don't even know who the fuck the people are. And so I started a new Instagram, which is now Malbon Golf. But that Instagram was started as like a mood board. So I didn't know what it would ever be. I had real no intentions of what it was going to be. I just wanted to put like obscure, weird, cultural golf stuff mixed with traditional, like pure golf. And it just kind of bounced back and forth there as a mood board. And I was thinking one day eventually I could like, you know, get a free tee time at like Angeles National, or if I had enough followers, something could come out of it somehow. And I started to realize quickly that there were a lot of other people who were interested in like a little bit golf, just a bit different than how like maybe your dad or grandfather did it, you know? So it's kind of pushing it and trying to attract new people and people who may think it was kind of like corny or not the move. And instead of pushing them away, like showing that it is actually really fun and there's parts of it that are super cool. And at the same time, trying to take like the thought of like the older people who have kind of the old guard that are like protective of golf and the traditions and how, you know, you can't wear your hat backwards or these kind of odd like rules that it's like, young people aren't as bad as you may think they may be. And then to the young kids, it's like these old people aren't as bad as you think they may be. So that's kind of how it's always been. And I think the main point of it was, like I said, like, how do you stop the 15-year gap from young, you know, people golfing and loving it and then being like, fuck this, I'm not doing that shit anymore. And then you wait till you're 33, 35 and you're like obsessed with golf again. So it's, that's what happened.
Dude, I had a very similar experience too, because like, you know, I was playing football and lacrosse in high school, and then in college I was really focused on film school. But so I kind of grew up golfing, and then that happened, and then I really got back into it in my adult life. But it is such a special game, and like I've always loved it. It's just finding the time for it, and like you said, that gap is kind of tough. But having companies, I mean, man, I can't explain how many times, you know, I wear your gear, like whether it's during the day or at night or like just going around on the golf course, whatever it is. I mean, it's really reflective of like almost the personality of the person wearing it, right? Like it's very comfortable and casual, but also has like a really nice kind of classy feel to it. And I love that.
And you wear it well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I love it all.
I feel the same. Like I didn't start golfing until really only a couple years ago. And so I had no even knowledge really of the old way of, you know, wearing all the right clothes, tucking your shirt in, the hat forward, doing the whole thing. And my first introduction to golf too was at a Discovery property, El Dorado and Cabo. And I'm playing in board shorts, right? So then to go from that to somewhere like Pebble Beach or another golf course where you really gotta, you know, be on your game, having something like Malbon where we can wear it all the time, it just makes it more comfortable, more enjoyable, especially for someone who, I would say for me even, who didn't have golf when I was younger. I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to wear, man. This is what I want to do. I'm more comfortable in a game that I'm already uncomfortable in, and I'm learning, you know? So it just changes the game as far as like, I think you're exactly right, hitting that point, you know, the younger demographic, and then making it fun, dude. That's the difference, I think, is it's fun to go do that, you know, and you want to go have a good time playing the game.
And like what you were saying, like it takes a long time, but it's not a bummer if it takes a long time, if like all your bros and your friends are doing it.
Yeah.
Then it's like you have no problem finding time to do it. Like it takes a long time to party too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it just takes a long time, like
Yeah.
partying, being hungover, recovering. But you know, you go through that 10-year period where like you make time for what you want to do, but when none of your friends want to do it too, it's like I'm out. I'm not doing that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not leaving everyone for 6 hours and they're going to a house party and I'm going to go like hit balls on the range all day.
Yeah.
It's tough. But if everyone was going to hit balls on the range, then it's like you have plenty of time to do it actually.
Yeah. Finding that community, right?
Mm-hmm.
That golf community helps a lot.
Well, it's cool too. I think it can take you all over the world. You know, there's golf courses everywhere, and like there's some of the most beautiful places I've ever been have been surrounding golf trips. You know, so it makes it even more enjoyable if you're looking at it from that standpoint. Also, it doesn't just have to be the golf course right down the street. You know.
Yeah,
That's
it could bring
awesome.
you all over the world, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think that's one of my favorite parts for sure. Like discovering new courses and going out and trying to get on and hell yeah.
Yeah. You said you went to art school. What'd you go to art school for, and how did that play into Malbon?
Visual communication. So I learned like graphic design, and I grew up as an artist and then went for commercial art basically. So I started a magazine in art school called Franklin 51, and it was an electronic pre-press. So you had to learn design. You had to figure out how to separate files to send artwork electronically to the printer. So it's electronic pre-press, and started a magazine. And the magazine was based off of like subcultures in time. It was before the internet. So it was like if you knew someone on Hot 97 and you were a rapper or you were a singer, you would be able to have a career, or if you knew someone at a record label. But if you didn't, there was really no outlet. And so it was kind of a underground like culture type of publication, and published all over the world. We published in Japanese and French and Portuguese and English, and that took me to all types of places. But it taught me how to do storytelling really well, and like art direction and editorial. And then I got hired at an ad agency where I was an art director, and then became a creative director, and then started my own ad agency where I worked, and got hired by Toyota. And we launched Scion, a car company for Toyota. That was probably our biggest account. And then I worked on Nike and HBO and Coca-Cola and a whole bunch of different projects. But all of it was based around like youth culture in some way or fashion or another. So I was actually doing all of that stuff and was switching offices when I had probably 30, 40,000 followers on the mood board, which is now Malbon Golf. And my wife was like if I go, my kids went to Wagon Wheel, so we would go to like Wagon Wheel, like dinners and, you know, parent parties and such. And so I'm like not talking to anyone until I see someone wearing like a LACC hat. And then it's like immediately I light up and I can sit and like chat about like knock down 7 irons and like flop shots and just like golf nerded out. And she's thought, you know, it's all you want to talk about or do anyway, so we might as well make a business out of it. So we opened up a pro shop, if you will, on Fairfax, and my creative studio was in the back, where I was still working with Nike. I was working on Nike Golf and Toyota and other accounts too. We were still doing a bunch of stuff, but it was my main focus was the creative services. And the little shop in the front was like an area where I could meet friends and have people come by. And I got a simulator, and we started selling like Jones bags and Seamus head covers, and Nike Golf was mainly what we sold at first. But the same way that like any golf course you can do, they have like a green grass program where you can crest your logo on like blank products. So that's when I made logos, the buckets, which is our kind of character, him, and then the script logo. So we had two main logos that I designed, and we started putting them on products that already existed. So I would go downtown and buy like Champion sweatshirts and then take them somewhere and get them embroidered, and we would start to sell them. But it was mainly just the sales from the shop. And then eventually we started with the website, and it's kind of like did it ass backwards. Like when I was young, I heard when you want to start a company, you develop a really great product and then you figure out how you're going to sell it, which is the audience. So we did it backwards. We built a really great audience and then figured out what products that audience wants.
Yeah, that is an interesting way of looking at it. And I mean, I like the concept even of like creativity finding a way. Like you started that account, like you said, just to have like a mood board, but then the passion turned into something tangible. And it's a great lesson for people to, do what you love and focus on things you're really passionate about to, become an entrepreneur and follow in those footsteps.
You have to have blind faith and love for what you're doing, or there's a lot of reasons to quit, but if you love it or not, it's like we've all had a friend that's dating like someone who's really, really bad for them. Right. And you can look and be like, dude, that's not it. Like that's not going to work. That's like a toxic relationship. But that person will tell you to fuck off. And then if his mom and grandmother says the exact same thing, like, that's not good for you. It's like, fuck off, grandma, I'm in love. It's like, you can't talk sense into someone who's completely in love with something.
Right.
So even when I was starting it, like, can you imagine, like, golf was declining. And I said I was going to start a golf shop on Fairfax next to like Supreme and skateboard and weirdo shit. So everyone was like, it's the worst idea I've ever heard, ever. And then I was thinking like, well, maybe I could do like a restaurant there too and have like a cafe with the pro shop and a simulator. And I remember someone saying, well, that's great. Now you'll have two of the worst fucking businesses to be in combined in one, And it's like I said to them the same that I said to grandma. It's like, fuck off. I'm doing it. I love it. And I think it'll work. And obviously a lot of lucky and good timing stuff. COVID helped greatly with our direct-to-consumer, with our online business. It shut our LA store down. Our lease was up like right after all of the protest and all of this madness was going on. So our lease was up, and it forced us to shut the shop, but it also forced us to focus on like being profitable and having like a schedule of drops, and just really like it was like I couldn't just hang out at the shop and like do what I was doing. It forced us to kind of mature the business in a sense. And that wasn't the original goal. Like I said, the original goal was like a free tea time at Angeles National or Rustic Canyon. So now maybe I can play Madison Club. So it worked.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Opens in November. You think we got like a month?
Sweet.
What really resonated with me was, I got Love and Do What You Will on my forearm right now, from The New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. It's a St. Augustine quote. And I don't think I bring it up that often. I don't want to bore the audience again with a story, but like, I just love it because, if you're doing what you love, God's supporting you, the universe will support you. And, hopefully it can work out because.
Yeah, it kind of goes into line. Like I feel the same way with everything I do, and even the stuff that we do together. If you're not passionate about it, then you will probably most likely burn out. You'll get over it. You'll find every reason, like you said, to quit. And it's already hard enough. So you might as well be in love with it and figure it out and kind of keep pushing forward. And, life, it's funny too, like even with me with acting too, I never know where it's going to take me. But then right when I feel like I should, kind of throw in the towel and maybe just focus on a business or do whatever, something comes out of left field and you're like, oh, well, now I'm working with, The Rock, or I'm doing this or that. I think we have Tony Cavallero. Yeah, so I did a show with him recently, dude. I think I saw you guys golfing together.
Oh,
he was at one of your events. Funny dude, man.
Yeah, he's a piece of work.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Entertaining. Absolutely.
Yeah. It was a guy, I was on set on and off with him for about 7 months, and him and Adam and Danny McBride and all those guys are hilarious. You can't sit around them and not laugh. They can't help but come up with something funny. But, to that whole thing, it's it's kind of just reigniting those passions and saying, regardless of what happens, I'm happy, I'm doing what I love, and doesn't mean it's not hard, but it's worth it. That's
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
it's like you guys are doing like a comic book and you're doing this and you're acting. It's like if you set out and was like, I'm going to be an actor and that's all I'm going to be. And you just keep, sometimes you feel like you're beating your head against the wall to do it. But if it's like, I'm going to do what I feel like doing and I'm going to do it as the best that I possibly can, you know, it beats work.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely,
like it beats
man.
work. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel like work because you want to do it anyway.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of work to put a comic series together, but it doesn't seem like work, I'm sure, but it seems fun.
It's really fun. Yeah, I mean, the podcast, the comic, I mean, I'm working on a documentary right now, like just anything creative that I can be a part of and contribute to. Like, you're totally right. You just want to, the process is what you enjoy. There is no final result. You just want to keep working at it, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Even like go back to like when I was caddying, I remember an older caddy, I was like talking with him and he said, you know, caddying beats work. Cause like it's still work. You have to schlep someone's bags, but like you're outside, it's beautiful. You're going to get tipped. You're making money. You get to laugh. You get to be a part of the conversation. You get to watch people gambling. It's a whole shitload of stuff going on. And like, yeah, it beats work.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, me and Will can go on a tangent, you know, talking about the story of where we want to take Kane, and we'll talk for hours and it goes by in feels like a flash and you don't realize it's just a good time, dude. And you get to have fun exploring all that stuff and creating. And
oh, dude. And like, kind of get back to like golf and like that younger audience. I mean, you kind of mentioned it was kind of stagnant, like the, I guess, youth outreach for the PGA and golf in general. Like, would you say in the last like 10 to 20 years, like how has that changed? I mean, you got Tiger Woods coming in, did people like Ricky Fowler, Justin Thomas, did that kind of play
I don't think it was stagnant. I think it works really well with like 7-year-old to 14-year-old, right? Like it's easy to get a kid to play golf when they're 7 and you can keep them in it till they're 14, 15, maybe 16. But what happens from 16 to 30? That's tough. You know, and that's also when you have to work and when you're figuring out yourself as an adult and you're probably working more and you're doing other interests that weren't doable when you were 10. You know, when you're 10, it's like my kid's golfing every day. He goes to school and after school he goes to golf. It's like he doesn't have like 12 other options right now. Like when you're 17, when you're 21, when you're 25, like there's a lot of options of what am I going to do after work?
Yeah.
You know, it's not just, well, I'm going to golf because that's what else he's going to do, walk the dog on the beach. Like he doesn't have that many options. Play video games, you know, like do homework.
Oh, for sure.
There isn't like endless. The world is, you know, when you're going through your teens and your early 20s and even into your 30s, like there's so much amazing stuff you can do that it's very hard to prioritize golf to be that one thing you're going to do, right? And so I don't know if it's stagnant. They're trying, and they are getting younger kids to do it. But I think that it, you know, when I was coming from like New York City ad agency, entertainment, marketing, and every other thing non-golf, like I would ask friends and say like, hey, do you want to golf? And the answer wasn't no. The answer was like, hell no.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like a negative, like, fuck no, I don't want to go golfing. Like, what are you talking about? You know, and that has changed a bit where I think now if you ask someone in their early 20s, do you want to golf? They're not going to say hell no. They're going to say, maybe still say no, but it's like, no, I don't have time, but I'm kind of interested in the idea.
Yeah.
Where back then, 7 years ago, it was like hard pass, just like, no.
Yeah.
No chance am I doing that. I don't know how. The people at the clubs don't want me there. I have anxiety. I don't know what to wear. I don't know where to stand. I don't know how to hit the ball. And that's a lot to break through that stuff. So I think that, you know, 7 years ago, that Instagram started and we've been in business like 5 years. But when the Instagram started 7 years ago, there were no other Instagrams like it. Like I did the Instagram also because I was so obsessed with golf. Not only did I use it as a mood board, I used it as a news feed for myself. So I followed like every golf Instagram handle I could follow, from like Titleist and TaylorMade and Callaway and FootJoy, and just like every single golf company, and every single country club or golf course or a pro golfer, and just literally, I had one Instagram for my normal life, and I had another one that was just where like all I would see is golf in the feed, and I could keep up to date, and I could see who's winning the tournaments, and I could see swings by the long drive guys, or the junior golf. I mean, follow everything, LPGA. And so it gave me a real understanding of like what was out there. And then, like I said, we had the creative studio in the back with the little pro shop in the front, and started to realize quickly that like golfers, they want stuff that makes them different than all the other golfers. Because if you take like, even like, let's say like LACC, right? So you have, if you take 10 members that are there, they all have Mercedes. They know a lot of people. They're successful. They play golf. They have a family. And they all have the same car. So like, how are you different than the other 9 guys? The only way is like, well, I have a cool bag and a cool head cover and a cool shirt and a fancy shaft, or like a custom Scotty Cameron putter with my name on it. So, it's like the same thing as in for like skateboarding. Like if everyone has a Pal Peralta skateboard, you want to get a Vision skateboard. Like you don't want the exact same thing that everyone in your peer group has, because then you're not showing who you are as an individual. And so I think the same similar thing is happening in golf, where you see like Jordan selling golf shoes, right? And even at like Madison Club, like they get X amount of pair. Right? Like I sell them on our website. We get the same amount as Madison Club gets. So it's only like 24 pair or something when they get them. But like, why is that person want that shoe? Like FootJoy works fine.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just like, so though there's certain members at every club that are like, yeah, but I want to show I'm like different than all those other guys. Like, yeah, I have a Porsche and I have a, $2 million house or a $20 million house. But like at the end of the day, like I have the rare Jordans that like only 24 members got them, because like I'm cool enough with the head pro, and they know to ask me first.
Right.
And so I'm like one-upping all of you other fucking idiots with $20 million houses and Porsches. Basically.
That's such a good way to put it, man.
Yeah.
You do want your own style and your own identity out there. I mean, that's why I, look at people like Ricky Fowler, right? You get the bright orange Puma, and even Puma as a brand is like more athletic and less kind of like traditional golf. But like, I mean, you could see him from a mile away with that bright orange, right? Mm-hmm. And then he kind of created his own thing and really stood out.
But he comes from like motocross in like Southern California, and like that's normal to wear flat brim hats that are orange, and like it wasn't normal to the masses, and it wasn't normal to like the kid who's just as good as Ricky but grew up in like South Carolina. They don't understand that like Orange County, Southern California, like motocross vibes. So it was just natural for him. It wasn't like he was trying. He was just like, I don't want to wear that hat. I want to wear a flat brim hat because all my friends are wearing flat brims hat, and people in skateboarding and surfing and snowboarding and motocross and BMX. Like, this is how we dress. And just because I'm super good at golf doesn't mean I'm not Ricky Fowler.
Right.
And I have to dress like a European tour player.
I think that's a very important distinction too. Like, that's what he was used to and what he was comfortable in. I totally agree. Yeah. I think, did you focus on that when you were kind of infusing your own designs and style into Malbon?
I used to go to Roger Dunn and like Golf Galaxy and such, being addicted to golf, and I'd have like a pocket full of money, and I'd go in and I'd look at everything, and I'd be so geeked and like talking to strangers about like bounce of wedges and like just fucking obsessed with golf. And I'd leave with like a Titleist glove and a dozen Pro V1s. And that's it. Because I don't want anything else in the entire store. Because like, I think it has a lot to do with Tiger and him getting Nike and very fitness based and like wearing like workout clothes, golfing. But he got really deezed up, and like he swings like a professional athlete, you know? But if you think of this thing I'm wearing, I golf in this. Like I don't need to wear like dry fit polos to golf in. Like I could wear that hoodie you're wearing and golf just as good if I'm in that or a dry fit polo. Like it doesn't affect my swing. You know, I'm not Bryson DeChambeau yesterday or whatever. He's at the long drive championship, the pros or whatever in Vegas. So like he might need a certain shirt that stretches to that type of athletic movement, you know, but your average golfer doesn't swing like that.
Right.
And then yet when you would go to those stores, that's your only option. It's like the white belt with the dry fit pants and polo and the Titleist, TaylorMade or Callaway hat. And that was it. And so I realized that like one is a golfer, like I want people to know I golf, because if I'm getting coffee at Alfred's and I'm wearing a golf hat, I might have someone come up and be like, hey, I'm a member of Bel Air. We should go play.
Right.
Right. Like, but I don't have to wear like a big Titleist hat in order to show people that I actually golf. So the logos that we designed were like that logo of buckets, it's a golf ball. And so it's already like golf without having to write like scream out loud, like I golf, like I'm wearing a golf ball character on my shirt, and it'll spark up a conversation at the coffee shop.
Yeah.
Where next thing you know, the guy's like, well, where do you play? You know, and it's like, well, I play here and there. Oh, I'm a member of Bel Air. You should come with me sometime. It's like, yes.
It's like a call out to the community. Right?
Yeah, and you want people to know you golf, but you don't have to dress like, you know, like I said, like people with the options for golf attire back then were like dress like a tour player or you're not a golfer. And then also I ran a creative agency, so I golf. Remember I told you I was addicted to things, and I switched those addictions to golf. So then basically I was golfing every single day in the morning. But the last thing I want is all day long everyone to say like, how'd you play? How'd you play? Like I don't want everyone to know I fucking golfed. I'm golfing every day and I have a job and I'm like on the course working as I'm playing, and I couldn't dress like Hendrik Stenson if I'm going to keep those clothes on for the rest of the day, nor did I need to physically. I didn't need it. I could play in a Stussy polo and a pair of slacks, and like I was totally fine with those clothing, but those options didn't exist at the golf stores at that time. And so that's, like I said, then we had a really big audience. The audience kept getting bigger. We were already working with Nike Golf. We did a Puma collaboration really early and launched it at the US Open in Shinnecock. And that was kind of our first step at becoming a brand. And then, it's tricky making apparel because your quality can't go up until your quantity goes up. If that makes sense. So like, if you only make 100 polos, they're going to be like sample quality. Meaning they're like handmade by someone sewing it on a sewing machine. It's not a part of a massive production. But if you make 5,000 polos, think about it. If you make 5,000 polos, the first 100 are going to be the worst ones. Yeah. When you get to like 3, 4, 5,000, they're fucking coming out polished and perfect. But if it's only 100, it's like by the time they figure it out, they're done. And so your sizes could be weird, or your stitching could be weird, and there's all types of issues with. So that was a big challenge, and that was why, like I said, I was going and buying like Champion sweatshirts downtown, and then embroidering our artwork on it and selling them like that, because I couldn't afford. It wasn't funded properly, nor did I have an audience big enough to be able to sell 5,000 of something. So now fast forward 5-6 years later, we're actually producing high enough quantities where we can make like really, really good stuff. And so it's exciting,
When you were taking me through the office, I mean, you were showing me material that, the top fashion brands use, right? Like you were showing me stuff that if I saw it in a store, I would think it's a Louis V sweater or something like that. So how do you kind of implement those fine materials with like what you're doing?
Well, again, like we're making sweaters at the same factory that makes like Montclair sweaters, right? But they're not going to make 100 sweaters. for you. So again, it's like quantity. If you're not making high enough quantities, you can't use the preferred factories. You can't get, the materials. Like, it's hard to buy small amounts of really, really good materials. Like, they don't want to bother waste their time. It's like, no, you got to buy X amount or we're not going to sell it to you, because it takes us just as much time to sell you, 10,000 yards of something as it does 10 yards of something.
So that ties into the quantity and quality conversation. Okay.
Yeah. And so that's why I was saying, but going back, like, we built a really, really good audience, and then we are figuring out products that the audience wants. But, I talk to brands where they're like, they have 1,000 Instagram followers and they go buy 1,000 hats. And it's like, how the fuck are you going to sell those? Like, you might sell 100 if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And then the other 900 just sit, and then they get depressed and like quit, because it's like, well, how could you possibly sell that many, if you don't
have an audience. Yeah. It makes it a little difficult.
It's tough to sell. And then the pro shops aren't going to sell it because you have 1,000 Instagram followers and no one knows who you are. And like, you're like, yeah, but I have 900 hats that I need to sell. It's like, well, fuck.
Just sitting on some hats here.
Like, good luck. You don't even know 900 people to give them to. I mean, at least you could use them as promo, but like, it's a tricky at first, but now our quantities are getting higher. We have a bunch of stores in Asia. We have a store in Soho in New York, and we're opening one in Carmel by the sea, like in a week or two.
Awesome.
So being able to buy for material and sharing it amongst different stores in different countries and such helps that.
That's cool
stuff.
So those are some of the new stores. You got Carmel in Asia, and are there any other kind of new?
We just opened one in Soho in New York. We have a beautiful store on Crosby Street in Soho.
That's that's the area in New York, right?
Yeah,
like if you're shopping in New York, you go to Soho.
Totally. And Crosby Street's like a little off, just barely, like, it's like one of the last like cool blocks in New York that isn't over commercialized in Soho. And it's Crosby between Spring and Broome Street. So it's a super, super, super cool New York block. And we have a shop there. We're opening a store in Carmel by the Sea in like a week or two. And we're aggressively opening stores in Korea and Japan. And here we'll probably do. We were just in Miami looking at shops like a week or two ago, and we're gonna open a store here in LA. But we're gonna do it. It's hard for me to picture where I would want to have a store in LA, so we're gonna just say, fuck it, and put it in the international airport at the LAX.
Oh wow,
that's cool. Yeah, so that'll be cool.
Yeah.
Talking about foot traffic.
Yeah, exactly. Like put it in there, and there's a lot of people from Asia there and international people. And so it stays busy and it's expensive, but it's like a cool global marketing type of play. And then we're looking at Austin and we're just going to keep opening some stores here. But our main business is direct to consumer. And sooner than later, we'll start doing pro shops and clubhouses and all of that. Fun stuff on the wholesale side, but we're also at like Saks and Nordstrom's and Mr. Porter. So we're doing like majors and big chains, which help the production, the quantities as well. Because they got to figure like pro shop's going to do like 10, 20, 30 grand a year or a brand. But like Saks will open you up at like 600 grand a year.
Oh, hell yeah.
So it does help with growing the brand. And then, it's tricky selling a golfer a polo who's never tried your polo on before, because all the golf brands make polos that fit totally different. Like you may wear XL in one, you may wear medium in one. And it's just, you're not going to know until you try it on. So being in pro shops is a great way for people who walk in and they need to buy a polo or a hat or whatever, and they have to buy it. And so they, it's not that hard to sell a polo if there's only 5 brands. It's like they're buying a polo. That's a fact, or they're not playing.
Yeah.
And so if there's only 5 brands in there, like you have a 1/5 chance of them buying yours. And then they'll take that polo and go home. And then wifey will be like, oh, it looks great on you. I'm going to order it in 4 more colors. and then they go to your website. And so it's interesting.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I've done that numerous times. Or even kind of last minute golf trips where you don't expect to be golfing and you're like, I got to get the attire, man. So here's the whole outfit. Yeah. You guys definitely are the most diverse collaborators in the golf industry, I would say. I'm kind of curious, is there anything you look for when you're collaborating with a brand? You know, like you said, you did Puma, and I know you did the Budweiser one we're big fans of, and a bunch of really cool brands.
It's either like, so we're trying like our mission statement, and I figured it out early, and I guess a mission statement, the main thing I know it does is it helps keep the founders and the people running the company focused. So ours is to inspire today's youth to participate in golf, right? So it's like just to participate in, like you said, PGA 2K, like we're in the PGA 2K game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we've been in it a couple of years, but we're in this one too. I just did a TV commercial for it, and with Schoolboy Q and like Shooter McGavin and some video game weirdos and a bunch of different people in it.
That sounds incredible.
Yeah, that was fun to do it. But it's either one of two things. So like I'll use like Beats by Dre, for example. We did a collaboration with Beats by Dre. They then enrolled Tony Finau and Cameron Champ and Schoolboy Q, and me and myself and my wife, Erica, we did a TV spot for Beats by Dre. And then they did a massive media buy after they did the massive production, and they blasted it out to like millions of people on YouTube, et cetera. So, you know, if you think about it, like Beats by Dre's Instagram or YouTube or wherever they're social, like most of them aren't golfers. Right. And so that was I'm in because I'm doing a collaboration with a company that has, 10 million people following them that don't golf, that probably think golf's a bit stuffy. And this will be a great way to get them to look at golf differently. And then that's the same for Budweiser. Yeah, like Budweiser social and all that stuff. Like it's not a golf company, so it's like a global brand, and it's a company that everyone knows what it is. But at the same time, X% of those people at like a Budweiser definitely golf, or I knew it would do good in sales because like how many golfers are there in America? How many of them drink beer? Right. And then how many of them love Budweiser? So it's like fairly easy to know that will probably be received well. But we got to design like cool stuff. It's not like we did just head covers, like there's actually like apparel and sweatsuits and all types of stuff. But then on the other side, so it's like, that's how it is for like, we're doing Girl Skateboards, which is my friend Sean Malto. He golfs a lot and he's on Girl Skateboards. Girl Skateboards is like one of the biggest, most core skateboard companies that Eric Costin skated for forever. And it's like Girl Skateboards. So we're doing a collaboration with Girl Skateboards because like most likely most of their fans don't golf, right? But there are a lot of golfers or skaters who grew up skating that are now in their mid-30s that are like, golf's kind of cool actually. Like, wow, girls doing a golf bag with this new company. Like, I like that company. I'm not going to buy a, Vessel golf bag. I'm going to buy a Girl Malbon golf bag because I want to show who I am again and all of that stuff. So if it's something that's outside of golf, we're doing it to broaden the golf audience. And then if it's something in golf, like Ralph Lauren or Nike Golf or Adidas Golf or even like FootJoy, right? So like we do collaborations with FootJoy, and I know that all of those people are golfers, right? But we shoot it with like as different as you can possibly tell a story from how your traditional FootJoy commercial would be. So it's the models we pick, the location we pick, the styling that we do. And it's not like I'm trying to do like graffiti on the golf shoes. Like that's not it either. It's a very classic design that we're doing, but we're shooting it in a very kind of international, eclectic feel of what the storytelling is. So that way, again, it's taking FootJoy's followers and them seeing us shoot something that may make them uncomfortable a little bit, but that's then growing and inspiring that group of people like, wow, shooting a golf ad like an international fashion commercial. I haven't seen it done before, but like I kind of like it. Yeah. And so it's that two-sided candle, it's like helping the young people realize golf isn't as stuffy and shitty as you think, and helping the old people realize like young people aren't as like derelict as you may think.
Dude, I love how you just broke that down. That's like genius.
That's great, dude.
My Lord. Bridging the gap of the Judge Smoltz character and the Danny character, right? It's like you want both of them playing together, ideally.
And that's golf is like the only way that I know that you can do that. You know, like it's a great equalizer. Like you said, it's like you can like, I'll go golfing with people, and luckily I learned when I was young and I can golf pretty good sometimes. But I'll go golf with like people who, when they're looking at you on the first hole, they're like, fuck, I got to golf with this guy. And then like you hit like, start off like par, birdie, par. And all of a sudden they're like your best friend. And then like, I'm getting photos. Like I played with people in Hawaii a year ago, 3 random dudes. But like I get photos of them sending me like their 16-year-old daughter wearing her hats. Like a year later, like still cool. Texting with some fucking randoms. I don't even know their name. It just says like the guy in Hawaii that I golfed with. Yeah. But he texts me and I get excited every fucking time. He's like, how have you been playing? How's the fucking slice coming along? Like, did you fix it?
That's awesome.
That's so good.
You become buddies real quick with someone after you get 4 or 5 hours with them on a golf course, you know, and you get to know who they are, and you get to laugh and you get to help them. And it's like golf's so fucking hard anyway, and the wind's blowing and you don't know the yardage and the elevation and this. So like you're like almost like brotherly and helping each other just from the jump. It's like, dude, come on, we're getting through this. Like you can go to fucking Vietnam with me. I'm here with you, bro. I'm going to help you read your putts. Like we're going to fucking make putts, high five, hug. And at the end, it's like, you're like sad to leave them.
Yeah.
Someone who I would have never hung out with it for fucking 10 minutes in my entire life. Next thing you know, I'm like fucking miss the guy. Like I miss fucking stranger. I don't even know him. I play 1 round and I like miss him the next day.
Yeah, checking in on the family.
Yeah.
That's great.
All over a round of golf. Who would have fucking thought?
Yeah, dude. I still got like laughs from buddies from years ago, man. Like my buddy's bachelor party, we all got hammered, and the next morning we decided like 7 a.m. tee off. And just the jokes that are coming out of it, the videos, dude. That we're still like 5 years later bringing it up in the chat. You know, it's
nothing better.
Yeah, dude, it's good. It's just good time, good memory making, dude. Really, it's a lot of fun, man. Did it ever feel like, obviously, from hearing your story and what you've done with Malbon, you have to take risks. You know, like with FootJoy and shooting this international commercial and some of the collaborations. Did it ever feel too risky? Going in for the younger audience,
constantly. But again, it's like put up like weird shit. It goes back to the same. Like it would be like, I remember like years ago, I would put like, I would put like a photo of like Chris Tucker golfing with no shirt on and like a joint out of his mouth. I'd put that up and I'd be like, oh, fuck, I'm going to lose like followers, dude. It's going to freak fucking people out, But then I would like follow up with like, Greg Norman, like whoosh, just flip Greg Norman in there with the shark hat dripping in his old look of Reeboks and stuff. And so it's like a fine line, but again, like you're not growing if you don't get out of your comfort zone a bit. So it's kind of an obligation to do it, but it's to do it tastefully and respectfully. Like I'm not into like trashing golf courses, and I'm not into like playing rundown municipal golf courses. Like I want to play the best golf courses in the world. And I think there's a level of like inspiration to people like yourself, people who are learning how to golf and getting into it. It's like, like the more I practice, the more I play, the more I hold myself in a certain way, and the more I network and get out there, the more the higher the odds that I'll eventually get to play Augusta National, And so it's like, I compare it to like nightclubs in like Paris during Fashion Week. Like you have to fucking work. You can't just walk up and get in. Like, I don't care who you are. Yeah. They're not letting you in. You got to work. You got to figure out, oh, my cousin knows this dude and he knows the doorman and we can get into this club. And you might have to grease some people on the way in. It takes thought, and that's almost half the fun. Right. Like it's not only fun getting drunk and partying. It's fun being like, I got into the hottest party last night in Paris Fashion Week and I saw all these fucking people and it was fucking like, that's what you're doing it for. But again, you can't just, I come from New York City for 12 years doing nightlife and events and party promotions and all of those type of things. Like, you have to be clever in order to get what you want. And it's like, I want to play Cypress and Augusta and Pine Valley. And like, you know, I want to play the most, it's just like in Paris, like I want to go to the hardest to get in nightclub. Like I don't want to just sit at the bar at the hotel and get hammered. I want to go to like the club that everyone says, you'll never get in there. It's like, watch.
Yeah.
And that's half the fucking challenge, but you have to get good enough as well so that when I go play at, you know, Pebble Beach, that the guy I'm playing with is like, hey, I'm a member of Cypress. You're pretty good at golf. You should come play with me one day. It's like, I was waiting on you to ask, sir. But like, that's why you have to fucking get good, because he's not going to invite you if you're just cute.
Right.
Like, it's not enough.
Yeah, man.
You got to be good too, or you're not getting the invite to Cypress.
I mean, it's like, it's interesting kind of hearing it put that way, but it's so true. And it's kind of like anything in life. I mean, the more you put into something, the more people you meet, you know, the bigger impact you leave. And kind of like what my grandpa told me when I was young too, it like kind of fits everything we're saying of like how golf can be such a great, you know, not only like business tool and networking tool, but also can like teach you so much about life. And, you know, kind of as long as you're, you know, fixing your divots and marking your ball and raking the bunker, you know, people will invite you out again. And it's more about those things and your mannerisms and your etiquette on the course than it is about how you play. Mm-hmm. Right.
Totally. It's like, if you're a pleasure, then people will like to invite you back. But you have to be a pleasure. You can't be like fucking hitting the balls like shit and fucking complaining the whole time. Like, I can't believe I sliced it in the woods. I'm like, I can't believe you thought you weren't gonna with that fucking swing. It's like, no one gives a fuck how you play, actually. It's like, are you going at the same speed as we are? And are you fun and enjoying yourself and light? Or are you like heavy and pissed off and fucking throwing clubs? It's like, anyone I play with like that, like I don't want to play with them again. It's like, it's not fun. It's like tense and like depressing. Like, fuck, don't even look at that guy. He just missed another 5-foot putt. He's about to punch his caddy. It's like, this sucks.
That's hilarious.
And we've all had our moments, I think. We've all had good moments and bad moments on the course. But like overall, yes, strive for politeness on the golf course.
Oh, yeah, man. I want to talk about your NFT project, Bucket Club, man. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So back when I started Malbon Golf and I started to turn it into an Instagram, as the mood board, etc., I was obsessed with golf. And like I said, none of my friends played golf. And so I joined Brookside Men's Club, which is like the municipal course over there. And basically you played like a match a week or something, and you had to go play with 3 strangers. And they basically were like the most rude, non-community group of people I could imagine. So they're like not helping you find their balls. They're looking at you like, why are you wearing like a fucking Stussy polo and not a FootJoy polo? And it just wasn't enjoyable. There was no part of like community to it that I enjoyed. And so fast forward, we started Malbon Golf Club and Buckets Club, and they're basically digital country club, if you will. And so we use Discord as our information bulletin board, and we do monthly tournaments on the East Coast and the West Coast, and we do special events at like Coachella and Art Basel and different cultural moments that are going on where you already know there's going to be a lot of great people in, you know, Miami first week of December because it's Art Basel. So why not do a golf tournament there? And so we're doing Miami Shores Golf Club December 1st for Bucket Club. And we get like corporate sponsors that come in like Topgolf and StockX is actually producing that with us. And then there's like, you know, drinks support and food. And we're going to actually start more of like a kind of a merch retail play with these tournaments where we'll go in and develop like pop-ups kind of where you'll just take the whole clubhouse pro shop over and take all of the stuff out and put only our stuff in and stuff we develop purposely for these tournaments and events and branding them. Yeah, but souvenirs, sure. You go to and now with my kids, like I'll do that. I don't do it for myself because I don't really wear those other brands anymore, but I will buy like polos for my kids.
For sure.
Hats and polos and that type of stuff. So like my kid goes to school wearing like a St. Andrew's polo. It's like, let's go.
That's really baller.
Yeah.
Very, very baller.
But the NFT group, it's not even like it's not like a collectible piece of art. It's just your token that allows you access into a digital club. So it's country clubs, or you'll be like member 1384 or something, and that's how you get billed, and that's how you can log into the gated website so that you can see, hey, there's a member guest, or there's this, or there's an Easter egg hunt, or whatever the hell. That there has to be a way to prove you're a member, and we're just using the tokens for that reason. But on a business side, like on a dollars and cents, we sold them for 0.3 Ethereum, and now they're trading at like 1.6 or something.
Wow.
Whoa.
So they've traded for a while, and in this really weird economy over the last year or two, the value of these NFTs are going up, and it's not because of the artwork, it's because of the utility and like the perks in real life. So if you're a member, you can play in tournaments. If you're not, you can't play. And then if you own 2 NFTs, you could bring a buddy. And if you own 4, you could bring 3 buddies. So now you have people coming in and buying 4, so they could bring 3 business people with them. So that part of it's pretty cool, where you can, if you own a few of the NFTs, and it's Buckets Club on OpenSea is how you would buy one or what have you. But yeah, it's cool. It's interesting. And I think it's like, it's half of the utility is that we play physical golf tournaments that happen all over. And because we can get 100 people or so, we can rent like, out here we do like Hacienda Country Club, which is really good country club. But, it's like 35, 40 grand to rent the course out for the day. And sometimes we pay even up to like 100 grand to rent the course. But there's enough members that'll pay their green fees to be able to go play. And like you guys know, like you're at Lakeside.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I hit you up and was like, hey, can I bring my 3 friends with me? You're like, fuck no. Right? It's just, it's tricky. No, but it is tricky. Like
they have rules on.
There's rules on all of that. Then you'd be like, well, I got to get another member per guest, per whatever. So my point is, it's very hard to have the community vibe that you want to have at these private courses, because you're lucky to get invited by yourself, let alone I'm going to bring my 3 homies with me. It's like,
yeah,
it doesn't
they want to
happen.
like encourage members playing with members, especially like new members. So I think because I'm in my first like 6 months or whatever it is too, they kind of limit that. And
Totally.
Then it's,
And they're all like that, and they all have their different things, but most of them are closed on Mondays. So with this Bucket Club, we can rent out the whole course on Monday. And instead of doing a charity golf tournament, we're actually doing a tournament for our members, but we get to move around from different courses. So we just did Bandon Dunes, and we took like 100 people to Bandon Dunes.
It's a great course.
Which was insane. A couple-day trip. We do Torrey Pines twice a year. Where Torrey Pines too, it's very hard to get a few tee times, let alone, I think we had like 40 tee times or something. Yeah, so it's interesting. We're doing Pinehurst and just setting golf destinations and tournaments. So half of the reason people are joining for that. The other half is like a loyalty program for our apparel business, where you get a discount, you get limited edition, like those Jordans, going back to the Jordans at Madison Club, like you can skip the line, if you will. And if we'll sell certain products that we know are going to sell out. We'll open it up first for our members, so you don't have to like panic that it's going to sell out. And it stops the bots and the robots that buy all the Jordans to then sell them on secondary markets. So there's a token gated website that we have where you have to hook your MetaMask up with your website, And that way you can then go in and buy the stuff that is way more sought after. So that's been a really cool perk. And then we work with Topgolf. So if you own an NFT for Buckets Club, you get like all types of free play opportunities at Topgolf. So when it's not on peak hours, you can go there and just use Topgolf as like a driving range just to like practice.
That's
so
cool.
There's real life stuff. We're doing tournaments in the Golf Plus on Oculus. So,
Nice.
So Oculus headset, and we're doing golf tournaments. But then in those tournaments, there's prizes from TaylorMade, and there's giving away gift certificates to our site. And so it's again like it's the going back to what I was saying, where like fish where the fish are. Like I know young people are into NFTs and on Discord. Like there aren't a bunch of old people on Discord,
No,
So it's like
sure.
if we're trying to attract young people, guaranteed there's not a lot of old people involved with that space. So us, and then it's also I'm like an advertising marketing, like graffiti artist minded person, where like that logo is the logo that's the artwork of the NFT. So now you have like cool golf balls trading on OpenSea and all over Discord, and people using them as their images and their Instagram handles. And, it's just like pushing the envelope. And I think that there is a huge like space there where people are going to do it more and more and more. Like think about like counterfeit Rolexes. So if you owned an NFT that came with your watch, there's no way you could ever buy a counterfeit.
Right. And I like the cyber security aspect too of like, having the secure website. I mean, I didn't know they were doing that. That's a cool feature.
Yeah, we're one of the only people doing it. And we're trying to kind of lead the way. So like for brands that are doing it, it's actually like the value of the NFT is steadily going up because we're pouring more like perks and such. So like, people are all freaked out by NFTs and there's all these scammers and then the economy and like people were buying like, $100,000 NFTs that are now worth $3,000. And it's like, I watched all that happen while ours were going up in price, while every other collectible one, if you will, like just fucking tanked, and that's like over the last year that's happened. And again, ours are hanging in there and going up in value because you actually get a lot of shit in the real world.
Right.
It's not just like a JPEG. It's a JPEG that's barcoded. And if it wasn't barcoded, you want to be able to get all the perks.
Yeah, there was a lot of early conversations I heard about NFTs coming on there was the wave of the art and the NFT itself and those being collectible and everything. But because there was nothing attached to it, everyone was saying the phase 2 essentially, which is, having some kind of fungible item, whatever it may be, or tangible item. That's what's going to make the difference. That's going to, you're adding value for that membership and even more than what I knew. Yeah, so that's badass.
I think it's like if you're going to buy NFTs or something, it's like the 3 points of like what matters. It's like who are the founders, who are their friends, and what do I get in the real world?
Yeah.
Because if the founder, it's like when we were doing it, like people think everyone's like scammers, but then they're like, well, Steve and his wife and his kids run a golf business and they have a golf business and they're doing business with Nike and they're doing business here and there. And he's probably not going to blow all that just to rip a bunch of people off with fucking NFT sales, So, and then they're like, well, who are their friends? And it's very similar to a country club. And I've kind of thought of it the same way. It's like, if you think of LA, you have like Braemar Country Club out in Reseda, right? They have 27 holes of golf. They have tennis courts. They have buffet on Sundays. They have from a mile up, it's the exact same thing as LACC or Riviera. But you pay $2,000 to join Braemar and you pay $300,000 to join Riviera, or give or take, right?
Right.
But like, why are you doing that? It's like not for the putting green. It's not for the amount of golf holes. One has 27, one has 18, right? So it's like, obviously it's because of the community.
Yep.
And you're joining that place and paying shitload of money and you're driving on through the fucking hard place to get to go there because you want to be around that community. And it's more about the community, and even like your guys' Madison clubs and all that. It's like the golf is insane, but in Vegas, I mean, in Palm Springs, like they have a lot of really good golf courses there.
A lot of really good
right?
golf.
So it's like, why would someone pay X times more to join there for a house on a golf course than 2 miles down the road at a course that on paper, give or take, it's the same thing?
Yep.
Yeah, and you're going to pay more to join one club, country club, than you would on the other. And if it was, so it's like, it's not about just the golf, it's about the community that you can rub shoulders and elbows with while you're at that club.
Yeah.
Globally, it's like, hey, do you want to come out to LA and play Riv for a few days? You know what your answer is going to be.
Riv is, in my opinion, the best course in LA.
It's hard to pass on certain clubs, Pine Valley, Augusta National, Cypress Point. So there's a super interesting comparison there of like the community and the perks and everything that go along with the digital golf club that we're doing. That, you know, there could be another one that like the value of the NFTs are going down, but it's because the same reasons. It's like there's really good people who show up and play in our tournaments, and then you get to go and, you know, we just did one in New York, and like CC Sebastian or whatever his name was there. He's like a Yankee fucking
Sabathia.
Yeah, he's the best. He's the best ever, but he like plays in all the tournaments, or these pro skater dudes or rappers, or, you know, someone like Ben Baller, like playing in these tournaments. You take an average Joe who buys an NFT for X amount of money, and next thing you know, he's playing golf with like a World Series champion, legend, New York Yankee baseball player in the Hamptons at a tournament at a course you could never play otherwise if you didn't know a member. So it's super fun, that whole thing. I'm just I'm obsessed with it, and it's really cool to see like I said, like the gated website stops the robots and it stops the secondary market flipping.
Yeah.
Because if you don't own the NFT, you can't buy the fucking shoes to then sell them for 3 times what they're worth the next day, which means the golfers who really want them are the ones that are really going to get them versus fucking robots buying them faster than humans can buy them. And then it all sells out in 10 seconds. And it's like, no one got any of them. And then they're all on secondary eBay or GOAT or
yeah, and the
StockX.
people you want them wearing them aren't wearing them either,
Exactly.
right? It's like,
Yeah, so there's a lot there that I would imagine happens, and even having like, you know, with apparel, it's like, and there's like a whole thing there with like badging and tokens. So like if you play in a certain golf tournament, you know, like even at like your situation at like say Madison Club, if you play in like the member guest, they'll do things where you get like a digital certificate that showed you played in it, and you'll be able to keep it in your wallet forever. And so it's like, you know, it's like badges for like Boy Scouts. It's like, it shows that like, oh, you went and camped at fucking the Grand Canyon, or you did this, and you get a badge and you get to wear it.
Right.
So there's like the NFT whole thing is like very interesting. And again, it's people showing, you know, who they are and what they've done. And I own all of these badges because I played in these 20 golf courses. So imagine if you go play Augusta National and you get a fucking NFT.
right.
But if you don't play there, you can't get the NFT. I mean, we sold Bettinardi putters with, this is wild, we sold $3,000 putters with Bettinardi, and we made like 24 of them. And so they all sold, and they came with an NFT. But then the NFT was selling for $6,000 the next day.
Damn.
Holy shit.
Like, just think of that. So it's like you buy the putter and you get an NFT, and you get to keep the putter and you can sell the NFT. So there's this whole like thing that's fucking happening, you know, that's like, and I'd imagine it's, you know, it's not going to go away.
No.
Not when you're tying it to utility, or like I said, I'm going to buy a Rolex and I get an NFT, and that way I know the Rolex is real. And you can't fake the
But But that's what it's going to do is it's going to, I think, get rid of all of the things that don't have any value.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's going to bring in companies like yours that are doing things that actually you get to use and have fun with. And you know, it changes the game, really. Yeah.
Have those real life tie-ins.
Yeah. Whether that is the clothing or the golfing or, you know, the access to stuff that you wouldn't have before. That's the move. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. Like at Top Golf, we're having it where you can go for free when you go in. You show them your NFT, and then the gaming system that is in your bay is based off of your NFT club. So then you can do like closest to the pin contest globally for the club members,
cool.
But you're using a real life place in Top Golf. And if you don't own the NFT, one, you don't get in for free. And then number two, you can't be a part of this contest where you get these rad prizes and cash and
That's
Ethereum
awesome.
to the closest to the pin and all this fucking madness. But like that stuff is fucking cool with community. So you'll have someone in like Dubai and someone in like Bangkok at Topgolf's playing against us here, because we're playing at the one in El Segundo and so and so. And so it's like, wow, I'm playing golf with like really cool people all over the world at a Topgolf, facility.
Yeah.
But for a club championship.
It's such a cool concept. I got to get involved in that.
Yeah, I'm with you. Absolutely.
And it reminds me of like, you're creating like a more sophisticated, more badass like Xbox Live, right? Because like if you're playing Xbox, you can like, you know, play Call of Duty with people all over the world, right? But this is like golf at like some of the nicest golf courses and like gear from some of the nicest brands. It's this crazy combination of like new age digital marketplaces with real life stuff. It's really cool.
And then it's like, imagine now too, it's like super, super, super early. So it's like the web, it's Web 3 is what it is, right? But like think about like Web 1 when you had to like plug into a telephone. Yeah, and you had to deal with all that shit. Now you have like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth everywhere, and it's like the easiest thing ever. But when Web 3 is maxed out and it's going into Web 4, like you can only fucking imagine what's going to happen. I mean, even down to like with Oculus, like we'll be able to have like the same thing. Like you can have like a Calcutta party the night before the contest where you're using Topgolf as your facility, but everyone will get on Oculus and be able to have dinner together in a room that's designed to look like the grand dinner hall at Augusta National.
Yeah.
And
or Mount Olympus.
Yeah, like you can do whatever the fuck you want, basically. And like we can sit here and talk just like this, but you're like in your living room, you're in your living room, and I'm in my living room, and you have on a fucking headset, but we're sitting here having this exact same conversation. And that way you could do a dinner of like, you know, we're gonna start doing like let's say like me and Schoolboy Q design a collection. Well, we'll do like a meet the designer. And then you'll be able to, if you own the NFT, you'll be able to go into a room and you can sit and mingle with whoever the fuck else is in there. But like me and Q will be on stage and we'll talk about the inspiration and the design and da-da-da. But like how many people could you fit inside of
a theater or like
whatever? Yeah. But like with the Oculus, you could have like 50,000 people could come and watch this presentation and no one has to leave their own home.
Yeah.
But while you're in there, you can mingle with the others. And that's when all those badges start coming. The fucking Boy Scout shit starts coming.
Yeah.
It's like, holy fuck, he played in 18 tournaments.
Yeah.
He's been around here forever. Like he's a legend.
Yeah.
And then strangers will be trying to shoot the shit with you in it because you are wearing your badges on your, you know, on your 3D buckets avatar that you're walking around in this fucking room having a party.
That could be a great work connection, right? Like they just could be great friends, great business connections. I mean, that community is going to be really strong.
Yeah, it's trippy. I learned a lot of it from my kids. One's 12, one's 10, and they were super into going to like Travis Scott concerts, and I had to like give them like $30 to like go to a Travis Scott inside of a video game. And then you give them the money to go to the concert, and they're like, Dad, I need skins. I need to dress a certain way when I'm my avatar. And so now there's like another $30. It's in V-Bucks or something. But it was just like, I watched during COVID, they used to always want to go to Target. And now they don't even want to go near fucking Target. They just want to get any amount of money I'm going to give them, and they want to spend it digitally to like do community-based gaming. But it's a lot of money, and it's constant, dude.
Dude, my little brother with his Fortnite skins. Oh my God. Like the Mandalorian comes out, he's got to get that. Yeah.
Yeah, and you need the V-Bucks. And then it's like they're meeting up with their homies, and it's the same reason, like, you know, someone's buying a Malbon Golf shirt is so when you go around, everyone says like, "Oh, I like your shirt. I like what that brand stands for." And like, you know, I'm one of you. We're in the same. Well, now they're doing it and wearing digital clothing to show who they are inside of a digital video game from their fucking living room or from their bedroom, like on the computer station. And so it's the same thing. Like, what is a digital country club? You know, and like, how is that today, and what will it be in 5 years? Like, it'll be a lot different because technology is just going to keep catching up. Like, now the Oculus is this big. Like, before long, it's going to be, you know, this big. And it's like, doop. And you're in the fucking meta. You're in the war. You're in.
Doop.
Just that simple.
100%. And like, you guys are at the forefront of it, right? I mean, I don't know any other companies that are doing that.
There are not a lot of brands that are doing it with like intent for growing it into what it will be. And it's like cool too, because most businesses or things people will tell you like, you know, you can't do this and you can't do that. But with this, it's like, fuck off. You can do whatever you want because like no one knows what you can do.
Right.
There's zero rules. It's like, who's to say you can't do that? It's like, it's never been done. So how could you know better than you or me or any fucking body of like what you can and you can't do? It's like, we don't even know what technology is coming. I mean, I heard the other day that they're going to have these suits that you can go in, and basically you can wear gloves that like you can have snowball fights with the goggles on and the gloves, and so your hand will get cold. So in a snowball fight, it's like whose hand can get the fucking coldest, who's going to win the snowball fight, who can take the most pain, because when your hand's cold and you can't make the fucking balls, you're going to get pelted, right? Yeah. So like it's all the way down to like touch and feeling, and like you can wear a suit and go skiing and it feels like wind's like ripping on your body as you go, and then you're like, it stops ripping when you get on the chairlift and you're sitting there talking with your buddy on the chairlift at, you know, Big Sky, Montana or something.
Dude, if I can snowboard in my living room,
be able
it's game over.
You will be able to. And you'll feel like frostbite on your fucking cheeks and shit.
Yeah, I'm never leaving my living room if I can snowboard in it. Oh my God.
So it's just like, you know, golfing, like watch what happens with that. Like they already have like golf clubs. Like we're doing a collaboration with some fucking tech company that makes golf clubs that hold the grip of the Oculus fucking handles.
Wow.
And it has weights on it, shit, to feel like a golf club.
You won't need like a simulator, right? You won't need the screen. You'll just need the Oculus in a club.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
And you can tell it what club.
Yeah.
You know, even like my car, I have that new car I got, and it has Alexa. Is that right?
In it? The Amazon one.
In the Rivian.
Yeah, in the Rivian. So I just say like, Alexa, call my mom. Yeah. And it's like, fucking calls for you.
That's great.
Or like Alexa, and I read the address here, and then it just goes in the map and takes me there.
Yeah.
You know, and like they didn't have that in cars 5 years ago.
No,
that was just a thought, you know, like working for Toyota, one of their biggest surprises was how much money it takes to store all of the information. You know, like you don't even think of such things. Like you're selling a car, but like the cloud or whatever that's holding all the information to be able to tell the car what to do. And the car will say like, it's your anniversary in 2 weeks. Should we go ahead and order flowers? It's like, absolutely. You know, you're fucking in traffic. So it's like, or like, You have a low air tire. Should I pull up the closest tire store?
Right.
Like, absolutely. I mean, it's like, it really changes the technology. So like where, you know, the whole like digital world is now and Web3 is now, like where it's going and no one knows, but it's not going to go backwards. I mean, with artificial intelligence, you see what they're doing now where like you can like make a movie through your thoughts.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to have a fucking camera and you don't have to direct, and you could say, I want the star character to look like this. And then it's like, there he is. I want his accent to be like this. There it is.
Yeah.
There's so much AI. I have a lot of like AI art apps. Mm-hmm. And like I fool around with them all the time. I use it as like a mood board for the comic. So I'll be like evil werewolf horror fantasy theme, and like you know, that way I can communicate with my artists better and like give them
direction off of your thoughts.
100%.
And then it'll be where like you can draw. Like it's like gonna like, so if you take AI and technology and the metaverse or all of that shit and you combine it all together, like where we're going is fucking nuts. I mean, it's just fucking nuts where it is. And like no one even has a fucking clue of where it's going. But at the same time, like the internet started with a plug that you put into the wall, and people would have said you were fucking nuts if you thought you could have Wi-Fi everywhere you go that remembers the Wi-Fi. Like if I tap into your Wi-Fi here, I come back in a year, it's already in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like, do you want to share your Wi-Fi and like all of this stuff? Like,
share password.
No one fucking knew that was going to happen, you know? But there's really smart people in the world that are super, super, super invested into the future of digital and Web3 and AI and all this stuff. And as they all combine together, it's like gaming. Just think of the gaming industry over the last couple of years. And like now you're going to be able to play sports, right, through like AI and meta and this, that, and the other with cash prizes. And, you know, we're doing a little bit of it with Buckets Club and technology of Topgolf. But like, who knows what the fuck we're going to be doing in 10 years.
No, but it's really exciting to see. And like you guys are pioneering it, especially from like a brand level and, you know, especially implementing all those real life experiences and all that. It's really exciting to see.
Yeah, man.
Fun stuff.
Steven, thanks for coming on, man. That's your story is awesome. Your brand is awesome, and it was a pleasure.
It was my pleasure, and thank you for having me.
Appreciate you coming in.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
We'll do a follow-up in 10 years and see where this whole fucking thing's going.
It'll be digitally. We'll be playing golf.
We'll be golfing in Madison Club from our garages and snowboarding after.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to drop a like if you enjoyed the video.
And subscribe and hit the bell for a whole lot more to come.
Thanks for tuning in to Studio 22.